Welcome back. It is the Chunk Podcast. We are back at it again, and I'm glad to have on board. We got one of our biggest podcasts, well, at least I guess I should say one of the biggest crews on the podcast. Right now, we have Jason, we got Nikki, we got Reggie, and we have JJ. Welcome to the podcast. Don't all talk at once, but welcome to the podcast, everybody. I'm glad to have you on.
Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
That's exactly what I expected it to sound like, and I couldn't be happier with the result. But we're back, and a lot of things have been happening over the past week. I can't believe it's only been a week since we did our last podcast. But we did a few things. We gave away the first Chunk giveaway, the Maddden copy. We gave it away in true Chunk form. We streamed it. It was about as random as you could get it, but it was a Super Smash Brothers brawl to the finish. Last man standing gets the copy of Maddden. We did that. Niki and I also hit Tampa Bay Comic Con over the weekend. We have a few thoughts on that. And obviously we have sports, entertainment, and gaming we will be getting into after that. But, man, it's been a busy week. We can start off with the Maddden giveaway recap. It was about a week and a half, and we took entries from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we just pitted them all against each other on Twitch. Did anybody happen to catch that stream when we gave away the Maddden?
I saw it. It was awesome. It was riveting.
Yeah, we have it actually posted up on the website right now at thechunkpod.com. You can actually see the stream when we did it. It was 5 total people, and Caleb from Facebook. We had 1 qualifier from Facebook, 1 from Instagram, and because the reaction on Twitter was so hot and heavy, we had to open it up and bring 3 people in. Unfortunately, nobody from Twitter won, but our Facebook qualifier took the Maddden copy, and he actually he might be playing it right now, actually. I gave him, he wanted the digital download instead of the physical copy, so we got him a download code, and there's a very good chance he's playing it right now as you're listening to this podcast.
Jeez, winner, chicken dinner. Yo, how do I watch it on Twitch? I'm trying to watch it right now.
You can go to our website, the Chunk Pod. You're a big fan, I hear. Actually, you just posted something yourself, a little fantasy football injury recap and a little highlight of players coming back from injury. That's a cool article that's up on our website right now. But just below, you can see the winner of the Maddden giveaway, and the video's embedded right on the website, so you can watch it. It's about 20 minutes long because I take a terribly long amount of time to get into it because, the longer the better. But
okay, I see it.
Yeah, it's cool. If you have time, check it out. It's a pretty cool way to give it away. And what was cool about it is everybody who was in on the contest, the 5 qualifiers, were actually watching the stream as it was happening. So they were like cheering their little characters on as it was going on. I think this is going to be probably one of the main ways we do giveaways here. I think that's probably the most fair way to distribute a contest is doing it through Super Smash Bros.
That was crazy. I didn't even know you did it like that. I'm watching it right now.
No, yeah, it was awesome, and thank you to everybody who participated. And if you're still following, I know a lot of people just retweet and follow just to win stuff, but we're hoping that they stick around for all the Chunk content. And obviously, I think the people who qualified and made it to this stream, I think they're going to be big fans, and they'll be participating in future Chunk giveaways as we move forward. Not sure what's on the horizon for the giveaways. Obviously, the shirts are an up-and-coming thing. We've been whipping together some Chunk shirts, so we have some Chunk swag to be given away. And speaking of Chunk shirts, the first time we've worn them out in public, it was Nikki, Kristen, and myself. We were at Tampa Bay Comic Con over the weekend, and couldn't have been happier. We went there on Saturday. We caught literally as much as we could. We just ingested it all, but it was an awesome experience. Met a lot of cool people, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Stranger Things. Have you guys ever heard of Stranger Things?
Things is my favorite show of all time. I watched season 1 4 times.
Yeah, okay, well, David Harbour from Stranger Things, he plays Hopper on the show. He was there, and Kristen actually stood in line for like 2 hours to get his autograph.
The dedication.
There was a long line to meet this guy.
Yeah, well, obviously Stranger Things is the hot thing right now, so it was David Harbour was there, who plays Hopper, and the young kid who plays Will. The dude he's got to be like maybe 13 years old, right? He's got a line longer than anybody in the entire building. It was unbelievable to see.
9.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Girls were there were people there fangirling over this kid like he was Justin freaking Bieber. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
That's great.
So
if I'm being real, I can't stand Will in that show.
I totally agree. I thought the same thing. Kristen was like, I really got to get his autograph. And I'm like, why? He's the reason. He's the cause of all the problems. What do you mean?
He is both seasons. He's like, does dumb stuff, gets in trouble, is always sick or like halfway dead. Come on, kid. And all the kids have to save you every time. Come on. It's like the dude from The Hangover.
Oh, my gosh. I said the same thing, but I mean, I get it. The kid, Kristen was like, without him, there's not a Stranger Things. And I'm like, what do you mean? Without the writers, there's not a Stranger Things. This kid just happened. You know what I mean? It wasn't this kid that started it at all. So anyway, now it was cool to see how popular Stranger Things was compared to other things. Those lines were the most consistently full. And these people are making unbelievable money for just doing one Comic-Con hit.
Boy.
Unreal money.
I mean, how many autographs do you think that kid signed that weekend?
The weekend off.
I just tried to do the quick math. I rounded it to like 500, which I know that they're clearing probably more than 500 in a day, let alone a 3-day weekend. But at $60 a pop for an autograph, and
was that 25, 30 grand?
Yeah, and another $60 for the photos.
$60 an autograph?
Yes, $60 for an autograph. $60 for a photo. So altogether, if you wanted an autograph and a photo, you're paying $120. If 500 people wanted autographs at $60 a pop, that's like 30 grand in itself. Oh man, they're making crazy money.
That's just depending on who you are. That just depends on who you are. The other guy from Game of Thrones, The Hound, he was charging what? Close to 70, and Val Kilmer was there. He was charging 80 a pop.
Okay,
for a picture.
The Val Kilmer thing is what threw me off. I mean, I get it. He was Batman in the 90s, but
one time ever.
On the same vein, like he was Batman in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like it's been like 20 years. There's been I don't want to throw him under the bus, but there has been better Batman since him.
Shots.
I'm just saying. I was shocked.
That sounds like an entertainment topic.
I'm just saying. I was shocked to see that he was.
No, it's true. He's not wrong.
I was shocked to see he was pulling that much money.
He was right. He was milking that so hard. Like, I was Batman one time, so I'm going to be the most expensive person at Comic Con. I'm like, you better chill out.
Yeah.
I don't care that much.
But I will give credit to one of my favorite people on this entire planet. He's a voice actor. His name is Phil Lamar. He's my all-time favorite voice actor, and he was cool enough to do like a combo deal. Like he would lower the price if you wanted an autograph and a picture. So I definitely went to go see Phil Lamar. He was probably the main reason why I wanted to go to Tampa Bay Comic Con in the first place. And he was kind enough to record this. I'm unrolling it now, or unveiling it now for the first time on the Chunk Podcast. We've got
Drumroll.
Phil Lamar. Is there a drum roll? Do we have a drum roll? We may have one. Let me see.
Here we go.
Here we go. Hold on. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, here's the liner he recorded for the Chunk. Sorry, that was
so much buildup.
Extremely lackluster, but here we go. Listen to this.
Hey, this is Phil Lamar. And this is John Stewart. And you're listening to the Chunk Podcast.
Okay, I love it. I mean, Phil Lamar, that was the voice of John Stewart from the Justice League animated series. He also
Green Lantern.
Yes, John Stewart, Green Lantern. And then he also cut us this one for our followers. I wanted to post it on social media, just kind of like a shout out to our followers. But listen to this one. Should I do another drum roll for this or no?
Yes.
No, just go.
Oh, no.
Okay, you know what? No, ignore me.
Here we go. Oh, it's coming. Okay, here it is.
This is Phil Lamar.
And this is Static. And thanks for following the Chunk. You can check out their podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify.
Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast right now, so you're already listening. But for people who don't know, if you're listening on an outlet that may be inconvenient to you, you can listen to the Chunk Podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, and literally all over the place on our website at the Chunk Pod. But he was cool enough to do that for us. I was blown away. He's one of my favorite, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And oh my God, I couldn't help myself.
He's Hermes from Futurama.
Yes, he's Hermes from Futurama. He just has done so many things. He's Static Shock. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Static Shock. Nikki's like favorite show ever.
Yes. Yes, he did the static thing just for me. I loved it.
Oh my gosh! So we're
Nicky
happy.
is so excited.
We're happy to have Phil Lamar be a part of the podcast. So
I didn't even know he did all that stuff. I just thought he was the guy from Mad TV.
yes, he was on Mad
Oh
TV
my
too.
God, no, he's so many credits.
Yes, he did Mad TV, and he transitioned over to voice acting. And voice acting is something I enjoy doing myself. And I'd like to say I'm an aspiring voice actor, but I've got a long way to go. Long way to go to get to Phil Lamar's level. But we're excited to have him be part of the podcast. Nikki, you also met somebody that meant a lot to you. Who was this young fella?
Tears in my eyes. It was David Hayter, the voice of Metal Gear Solid Snake. Oh my God, it was epic to me, and like I swear to God, not many things make me cry. Like on top of Venom, but he had a personal one-liner. Like we had a conversation, and he hit me with one of the quotes from the game. He said, "Like you're pretty good," but he made it personal for me. He's like, "Hey Nikki, you're pretty good, bro." On God, when I tell you, my knees started shaking. It was one of the greatest moments. Like I've played that game for since 95 when the first one came out. He says that line like every now and then when in a trailer, not during the game, but for the trailers just to get you hyped. And just to have that personally for me, that just meant everything.
Yeah, we were
Nicky
lucky.
loves that game too.
Yeah, for sure. No, I know it's one of his favorite games ever. And on our way out, we were checking the lines. We were on our way out. We were gonna. I don't know what you're just nervous or something, but we just had to coax you to do it. We're like, dude, just do it. The opportunity is now. And he was lucky enough to just go in there, and he came out, and oh my God, the interaction between him. You got the photo, and it was really cool to see Nikki cry. Which, by the way, this is the second podcast in a row Nikki's crying. He says he's not emotional.
Hey, like I told you, there's very few things in this world that make me do it. But I mean, the things that the chunk covers, these are all things that are close to me, so I appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's good. I'm glad we can make you cry every episode. But by the way, the photos of the Tampa Bay Comic Con, if you were there, maybe you can find yourself. There was some cool cosplays. We tried to get pictures of the celebrities, but from a distance, if you had any phone out, they were like slapping you on the wrist because they try to protect their product, I guess their babies. But there's a photo gallery on the website right now, thechunkpod.com. Hit up our website, check out the photos, and you can see for the very first time out in public the Chunk podcast or the Chunk shirts. We had official swag, and look forward to getting some of those shirts out to some of our listeners and our followers on the interwebs. And I guess that's enough talking about us. Let's get into topics. In the sports category, we can go right to, because we posted it on our Facebook page, was it yesterday? The NBA Christmas Day lineup. 5 games on Christmas Day. There's just a few. We can start off. It's Bucks versus Knicks at noon. I can tell you I will be sleeping in for this one. I am going to miss it.
The Bucks versus Knicks on Christmas?
Yeah.
Dear gosh, that is the most boring game.
I don't think anyone's going to watch that, especially if Porzingis isn't back by then, which he probably won't be. There's no way. Who's going to watch that game? Who the Knicks even draft? Kevin Knox is decent, I guess. But
I think Kevin Knox is going to be pretty good and probably surprise a lot of people. But I can't stand that they keep giving the New York Knicks Christmas Day games. It's like the Detroit Lions are tied contractually to Thanksgiving games. Nobody wants to see them anymore. Put good teams out and show your best product on a day where everybody's sitting on their butt watching TV. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about numbers at the end of the day, and New York is a huge market where they're going to get a lot of viewership. That's the only reason why it makes sense for the Knicks to be on TV. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to, because they are garbage and they're not going to be much better this season.
Oh boy,
They're so garbage. I'm a Knicks fan and they're garbage, and Porzingis is the only decent thing on that team.
Dang.
Okay. But moving on, we don't have to spend too much time on that game because it probably will be the worst game of the day.
This is going to go off, period.
Yeah.
Next.
At 3
There's
o'clock.
another game.
Yeah, he could drop 100 points.
Yeah. At 3 o'clock, it'll be the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Houston Rockets. Obviously, that's going to be a little bit better game. Higher profile players, higher profile teams. This is not on my top 3 list of games to watch. On that day.
I'm definitely going to watch that game with Melo going back to OKC or at least playing them again.
I'll watch it, but I think only reason I want to watch it is just because I want to see Harden and Westbrook go at it, and I think it's kind of cool. 2 MVPs used to be on the same team, meeting each other again, but I still got Houston. The Thunder, I mean, I don't know. I think just Brody's really he's number chasing at this point. He's stat chasing. He's not really trying to win anymore. So I don't think it's really going to be that great of a game, but it'll be entertaining to watch for sure. But more entertaining than the Knicks.
Every single time I see Harden play the Thunder again or Durant play the Thunder, I just think of how badly the Oklahoma City Thunder botched that entire group of players. It makes me sick to my stomach.
They really did.
Unbelievable that they would have Westbrook, Harden, and Durant, and they chose to keep Serge Ibaka. I get as far as trying to balance your team, keep a big man, but dude, when you have 3 insanely talented players and you trade them away, and what you got back was Jeremy Lamb and like a couple draft picks that didn't amount to anything. It's
a bunch of bums, pretty much. I mean, you traded away like that would have been like the best team of all time.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, I mean, Harden had to go because he was going to ask for more money, and just there was no room. There was no room for him anymore. When he was there, he was the sixth man. There was no room for him anymore because he knew he was worth it, and OKC wasn't going to pay him. So that made sense.
And he should have been a starter.
Yeah, but Harden was down to come off the bench. He said he enjoyed playing with Durant, enjoyed playing with Westbrook. Like he didn't mind coming off the bench, and they could have afforded all 4. Just the owner didn't want to pay the luxury tax.
Yeah, Oklahoma City's not the biggest market. It was early on in their move. Obviously, they hadn't been there for very long. But again, given the choice, you see how talented Harden is. With those 3 people, why would you try to keep if it was Serge Ibaka holding you back? Granted, Serge Ibaka was playing well at the time. I think you pony up the money, you pay everybody, which is now in this world that we're living in. You have to have 3 stars like that to even be competitive anymore.
Shout out to Miami for starting the trend.
Yeah, way to go. Thanks a lot, LeBron.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I think it was the Celtics, though.
The first thing, too, was the Celtics,
yeah.
Okay.
Man, everybody keeps saying that, but...
Were they not the first big 3?
They did have a big 3 in Boston, but it was nothing like what Miami's was.
What do you mean? Paul Pierce was in his prime. And then Garnett and Ray Allen just barely on the outside of their prime. They're all really good.
And then you throw in the mix with a freaking playoff Rondo?
And playoff Rondo in the playoffs was their best player.
The best player in the world, and arguably arguably one of the best shooting guards in the game. Like at that time, both came together, and on top of that, you go and get a young or a well-seasoned Chris Bosh, who was, honestly, I would say at the top of his game. And then you put a whole bunch of, serious role players around them. I mean, there were so many weapons on that team beyond the big 3, and the big 3 was still extremely dominant. So, I mean, I think Miami was the one that really, pushed it further. But if we're giving credit to who started it, we'll give it to Boston.
But I will tell
Miami
you,
really pushed it far.
I will say that the person who started, you can say that Boston started it, but they built it though. What we're saying is that they traded for it. It wasn't they had to convince Kevin Garnett to even be willing to go to Boston. He didn't even want to go initially, but it was a group effort, and it was Danny Ainge that wound up getting the pieces together to create that team. It wasn't, hey guys, we're all free agents. Here's a spot that can take us all. Let's join up together and create this super mega team. So the Miami team was bought. The Celtics team was built.
Oh boy,
I'll give them.
That's my philosophy on it.
Super mega team or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Boston, we can get to the next game on Christmas Day. It is the Philadelphia 76ers at the Boston Celtics. I will be watching this, obviously, because I'm a Celtics fan, and I think this will probably be the best game of the day.
I was just about to say, if you ask me, I think this game should have been primetime, because we're easily looking at the Eastern Conference Finals game right here. And I definitely, if these two teams stay as strong as they did last year, we're looking at a 7-game series, hands down. But
I don't know.
We're looking at, I know that we want to argue, but
are the 76ers any better than they were last year? I think they're the same team, just more, I guess, another year under belt. But the Celtics are getting Kyrie and Hayward.
To be honest, the big difference is that you have you will have a Ben Simmons who has playoff experience and who will actually try to do more than just dribble and dribble and drive. But now that you mention it, bringing back a healthy Kyrie and, well, I mean, I don't know how healthy Gordon Hayward will be, but
he's
he'll be
100%
enough to supplement the success they had last season. So maybe not a 7-game series, but either way, this game is, in my opinion, this should be prime time.
Yeah,
I'm kind of upset that they moved it to 5.
The primetime game is the game that we've been talking about all damn summer.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that for a second. Let me state my piece on the 76ers Celtics game, okay? Which, by the way, on this picture, I don't know why it says 76ers versus Boston, and they're the only team that didn't get their team name. Anyway, that's weird. Thanks a lot, Sports Center. No
respect.
I don't think that this is – obviously, I think the 76ers are a top 3 team in the East. I'm not counting out the Raptors yet. If we haven't seen Kawhi Leonard play in over a year, Kawhi Leonard is a top 5 player, and when he comes back, and if he's playing even half as good as he was when he went down – you can't discount the Toronto Raptors anymore. I don't know. I think that they're better with Kawhi than they are with DeRozan. And that's gonna be the top 3. Is I think it's the Celtics, 76ers, and the Raptors. But speaking on this game, how much better? Unless Ben Simmons in the offseason has been working on his jump shot, which is abysmal at best. This is nothing. I'm not worried about the 76ers at all. Joel Embiid will put up probably 40 points a game if they play in a playoff series, but I still think that they lose. That's my opinion.
I
can't fight it.
Yeah, because I don't think Ben Simmons is really working on his jump. I mean, I'm sure he is, but I don't think he'll make significant strides. But I think there's important things that he will learn, such as ball possession in the fourth quarter, like when you really need it, and just even just making better opportunities in the clutch. But I still don't think that they'll beat the Celtics, but it wouldn't surprise me if I were to see it go to Game 7. But
maybe Fultz will be better too. You never know. Maybe he's semi-decent this year.
That's the wild card is Markelle Fultz. What is he, and will he get a jump shot? The world may never know. I don't know, but we'll see. He's got a full season to figure it out.
I feel so bad for him.
I mean, I guess they were saying like he could shoot in college, like there wasn't even a problem, right?
Yeah, he hurt his rotator cuff or something like that, and it ruined his shot. And he was trying to play on it. Eventually, they had to deactivate him so he can get healthier. But
he'll figure it out. I'm sure he'll be a decent player at some point. But trading up and picking him over Jason Tatum probably will go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. I think it's just
Jason Tatum is disgusting. Yeah. He's just only gonna it's dangerous to see how good that guy is. I can't wait to develop.
He's like the next Kobe, I think.
Seeing the pictures of him working out with Kobe Bryant, oh my God, it made me so happy. I've never been happier. Well, yeah, I'm sure I have been happier, but sports related, never been happier. That was awesome to see, and I can't wait to see how he grows in his second season. Speaking of the Lakers and LeBron, which nobody was talking about except for ESPN probably right now if you turned it to their channel. The Lakers versus the Warriors is the 8 o'clock game on Christmas Day. This is obviously going to have the most hype around it. This is what the people want to see is Lakers with LeBron versus this Warriors team who has crushed LeBron over the past few years. Who's excited to see this one?
I'll probably watch the fourth quarter, depending how close it is. If the Warriors are not up by 5 points, I think they will be.
Is this the first time that they're going to play each other this season?
I don't know that. I would assume that they would probably be hyping it up.
They're in the same conference, so I figured they would have to run against each other at some point, but who knows?
I think
I just don't understand the storyline if they're going to meet each other at other points of the season.
Yeah,
unless this is maybe one of their last meetings before the playoffs.
If you ask me, I think this was just this was solely based on hype, because at the end of the day, even if Golden State or even if the Lakers were to win, it tells me nothing, because a playoff LeBron versus a regular season LeBron are two different things. One, and then two, I mean, at the end of the day, if Golden State wins, there is no surprise there. And if the Lakers win, everybody's going to be like, okay, well, what about playoff LeBron? Like, this means nothing, which is the reason why I feel like this would have been a perfect 5:30 game, because there's nothing that's that crazy here. All it is hype, and I really don't think that – I think that they're going to be meeting before Christmas anyways, so.
Yeah.
Hold on. If the Lakers win, you got to think playoff LeBron is going to make the chances of them winning later in the playoffs even better. Like, they could actually knock out the Warriors.
It's the middle.
They cannot knock out the
Christmas.
Warriors.
Wait a minute.
There's no way LeBron and his ragtag team of troublemakers beating the Warriors in the playoffs. You kidding me?
Wait.
Definitely possible.
Stop.
How's it possible?
Hold on, Nikki. Wait.
It's possible.
Nikki, wait. I want to know on record right now. Do you think the Warriors will lose to the Lakers in the playoffs?
Oh no. As it is right now, no. Nobody's beating the Warriors. But if the Lakers win, there's a case to be made.
Oh, they can probably take a game.
It's the middle of the season.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers winning at the end of December has no impact on what will happen in the playoffs.
Let's see how the
Lakers
chemistry
beat them. Whose chemistry?
The Lakers.
It can be amazing. They're not beating the Warriors at full strength. Unless KD and Durant get hurt. Or Durant and Steph Curry get hurt. Unless KD and Steph Curry get hurt. Nobody's beating the Lakers.
No! Nobody's beating the Warriors.
Look, we might as well just throw this. We might as well just tell the chunkers what happened.
Okay, listen.
We stopped. So confused
we stopped tape,
and then he just changes.
We
just
stopped
changed his stance midpoint.
We stopped tape because Reggie's
I
microphone.
can't believe you haven't been rolling this entire time.
Yes, Reggie's microphone was getting a little garbly, so we had to stop tape, and we tried to feed him the line to finish the sentence, and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. So we're going to keep this in. This is an added little treat for all the podcast listeners. You enjoy. Reggie apparently thinks no one's beating the Lakers anymore. So
LeBron James.
He gives us a full 180 on his opinion. Okay, Lakers versus Warriors. Again, like you said, I think LeBron outside of the playoffs, you're right. This is probably going to be a meaningless game. Don't take anything from it. However, the one thing we should be able to take into the playoffs is the fact that the Warriors are stacked. And like you said, barring injury, I don't think anybody's going to beat the Warriors on their way to the finals. So this game is going to be fun to watch, to see them all on the court, see LeBron in the Lakers jersey taking on the Warriors. But outside of that, that's the only storyline. I don't think it's going to be a good game basketball-wise.
It's basically just going to be an all-star game.
Yeah,
pretty much
for sure. And then moving on, the 10:30 game, we can get through this. It's the Portland Trailblazers taking on the Utah Jazz. Two teams that you don't really see a lot of on national television, and it is a later game. But I'll be honest with you, I do like both of these teams. I like the Jazz more than the Blazers. Obviously, the Blazers are kind of in a weird spot. But it'll be a fun little game to fall asleep to. I think that's really the only thing I'm going to get from this game.
Pretty much. I don't know why they added it, but it'll be nice to see.
Yeah, I like to watch the Jazz play every once in a while, and they got a lot of good players. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell's up and coming. Should have probably won Rookie of the Year, but whatever. That's a whole nother discussion that we've already probably had. Anyway, that's the NBA Christmas Day lineup. We can transition away from the NBA real quick. Did anybody happen to see Jarvis Landry's little speech on Hard Knocks to the wide receivers in the room?
I did. I loved it, and I'm ready to do anything for Jarvis Landry. Jarvis dropped the number 1 overall.
Yeah, no, Jarvis Landry, I mean, I get it. He's always been an intense player on the field for the Miami Dolphins, but he's now playing for the Cleveland Browns, who have been a perennial joke in the NFL. But I'm just saying.
Shots fired, Duck.
Is it really? That's the easiest shot to take. Let's be honest.
I think he just forgot what team he's really playing for. I think he'll realize as soon as the season starts. I think was in dreamland.
I think the reason why this is such a good, I don't know, the speech is so good and it means so much because it is the Cleveland Browns, and it's good to see finally a player stepping up and saying, "Listen, we're not going to be trash anymore. If you want to be trash, you need to go somewhere else." Like, I think that's the coolest thing. And he's trying to change the whole mentality of that locker room. And I honestly think what the Browns have done in this offseason and with their draft, they're going to be a decent team next year. They may even make it to 500. They may win 8 games, which is a huge deal for the Cleveland Browns, who have been losers for decades.
Losers is such harsh.
I mean, it's true.
It's absolutely true.
They're 1-31 in the last 2 seasons. How's that possible?
That's so bad. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I really liked it. I haven't watched a lot of the Hard Knocks, but that speech went viral because of I would play it for you guys, but we don't have enough censor buttons available in this podcast for his speech. But to me, it was very well put, and it was a way to just say, listen, and Josh Gordon, of all people, needed to hear that. I think.
All right, just to know he's got help or something. No.
Yeah. Josh
Gordon is good though. Josh Gordon shows up and plays.
Josh Gordon is
whenever he's on the field.
Talented, troubled receivers I've ever seen. If he actually makes it through a whole entire season this year, Cleveland, it would not surprise me if Cleveland makes it to 500.
Here's my bold claim.
Uh-oh.
Josh Gordon's going to have 1,500 yards this year.
Okay.
I know who I'm drafting.
I don't disagree.
My bold claim, Josh Gordon plays the whole entire season without a marijuana charge.
Wow.
Whoa.
Now we're getting hot takes. These are hot takes.
It's just bothered me that he's so talented and he's thrown it away on stupid decisions. I mean, I know that there really was a point where a lot of his mental health really was in question as to how he makes decisions, and so I do, of course, wish all the best for him, and it really does seem like he's making a turnaround. The dude's strong, he's talented, and he has everything going for him. He just needs to make better decisions. I really just want to see him just be the best player you can be because, man, when he was active for a whole season, he was damn near unstoppable.
The dude won me.
The best.
He single-handedly won me a fantasy football league that I was in that year where he didn't even play all the games in the season, and he just was shattering single game records. It was unbelievable. He had back-to-back 200+ yard games. The dude was crapping on the league, and then he disappeared because of a couple marijuana things, which granted, compared to a lot of the other NFL superstars that were making headlines, marijuana is a small and minor issue because the NFL was going through a lot more crap. I think they would welcome some marijuana charges.
Wasn't that the same year that Ray Rice,
I believe it was pretty close to that same ballpark. And for some reason, instead of the hammer falling down, Goodell wasn't putting the hammer down as hard on people who were getting into domestic violence issues. As hard as he was coming down on Josh Gordon, he had it out for Josh Gordon for years. And now he's finally cleaned his act up, and I'm excited to see him in a full season. And I'm actually I would watch a Browns game. I mean, what they've done to their offense, and their defense has always been pretty decent. They just haven't had an offense that could score points to keep them off the field, to keep them rested. So I'm excited to see what comes up with the Browns. And we will get into more of the NFL talk. We will have I think next week we'll have our fantasy football preview podcast because that'll be the podcast that we do right before we wind up doing our fantasy football draft, which will be on August 18th. It's a Saturday in the evening, probably around 7 o'clock. We'll do the live stream to our Facebook page for the draft.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
Yeah, and
I'm so ready.
I'm actually not ready. I'm the least prepared. I've been doing so much outside of fantasy football. I just need to sit down and get into it. I haven't really been doing that much fantasy football research as I would do in years prior, but I'm excited to get into it. Also,
if you need to do some research, check out my new blog post on thechunkpod.com.
Yeah. You got a little...
It goes over some injuries and people coming off of injury who you want to check out for and see if they'd be a good decision to draft them or not.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Check that article at the
shameless plug.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's not shameless. It's our crap, so we're going to hawk it. So thechunkpod.com, Reggie put a good article out, and he has experience in this field. Reggie, do you want to just let him know? You're not just some random schlub that says, hey, this guy can heal. Good. You actually have credentials that grant you access to these legitimate takes that you have put on our website.
I do. So I am a random schlub, but also I am a physical therapist and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. So I've worked with athletes and helped them recover from injuries. So a lot of the information that I put on the page is from some experience working in the field and in school and all that stuff. So I definitely know what I'm talking about, and just check it out. And also, we have a new Twitter. I think it's the Chunk Football.
We don't have to get into that.
Football, so check that out too.
Yeah, if you follow us on @thechunkpod on Twitter, you will get access to those little chunk fantasy football tidbits coming from that page specifically. So if you want to follow us on at the Chunk Pod, and you will find your way to the new fantasy football tips and tricks and injuries, all that stuff on the Twitter page. So just follow these. You'll be in the loop. And the week after that, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now, before the season actually starts, we're going to do an NFL preview podcast where we kind of lay down our predictions on how we think the season will play out. And by then we'll have been able to see some preseason action, which is going on right now. I think this weekend there's some preseason. Everyone's playing the first week of preseason, so we'll be able to see actual football action again. That Hall of Fame game was not football action, in my opinion.
Saquon Barkley just broke for 39 yards on his first carry.
Boom! Drafting him first pick in the draft. No, I'm kidding.
He's going to be disgusting this year.
Speaking of the fantasy football draft, as someone slams a door shut, no, I'm kidding. That we can slam the door shut on that conversation. But we'll move over to our fantasy football draft. We need to figure out what we have the people set. We have 12 total people for the league, the Chunk Fantasy Football League. Now we need to figure out how we're going to decide the draft order. Last year in the league we were in, I did this thing where I randomly assigned each person to a NASCAR driver, and we just basically, the order of finish decided the draft order. I like the way we did that. I think we could do that this weekend if that's what we wanted to do. But then Reggie had the idea. He liked how the Twitch giveaway went with the Maddden giveaway. He kind of maybe we could do like a Super Smash like little tournament stream on Twitch just to decide the order,
like playing against each other.
Yeah,
no, see that's
like
the thing.
CPUs.
Oh, okay.
It would be tough to do.
Because I would totally wreck you guys.
I know, obviously.
To get that first overall pick.
That's the thing. I wanted it to be random. I want it to still be random. I don't want it to be like a skill-based way to decide the draft order. So
can we choose our person, though?
That's the thing. Like, we would have to choose our characters, and because there's 12 of us, you can't do a 12 fight. So we'd have to do like 6 and 6, and then decide the top 3 from each go into the final fight, and then the bottom 3 go into like the what is it, like the
losers bracket?
Losers bracket. That's it. I don't know why it was so hard. I've just never been a loser. I'm not familiar with that term. No, but
consolation bracket.
Yeah, consolation bracket is a term. So I think if we could do it that way, and honestly, it would be entertaining. No one would actually be playing the game. It would just be another stream. We probably wouldn't do 3 stocks. Maybe 3 stocks in the championship one to decide the top 6 order. But I think we could do that on Twitch if everyone's cool with that. That would be a nice way to just kind of make it random.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, and it could be live too, so watch it.
Yeah, so there's proof of it.
Yo, does everybody in the league have Fortnite?
Oh boy, I don't think everybody has it. No, but how would we do that?
Everybody just joins a 12-man custom game, and
that would be nice. That would be nice to do if they would open it up and allow 12-man custom games. They have the playground mode, but it's only 4 people, and until that I know it's stupid. Until they open it up and let you make a custom room, that wouldn't be an option. It would be cool to do, but it's not an option right now. So the options are we do the NASCAR thing again, or we can stream it on Twitch like we did with our Maddden giveaway, and just that'll be the order. I think that's probably the most entertaining way to do it. I don't think a lot of people want to waste a Sunday watching NASCAR.
That's true.
So it would be over probably in about 20 minutes. We just stream 4 total matches, right? It would be a 6, another 6, and then the losers bracket, and then the championship, which is decide the top 6. So we can do it that way. I will jot all this down in my notes, and we'll do that sometime this week because the draft, like I said, is next weekend. So let's try to get the draft order probably by Wednesday. I think we should do it. Maybe sooner than that. Now that I think of it, maybe by this weekend. Maybe by like Sunday or Monday we should do it, because a full week knowing your draft position will help you when you're trying to figure out who you're going to draft and what your team may look like in the future. So we'll figure out the draft order, and we'll get that all set up so we can live stream it to our Facebook page. It's the Chunk Pod on Facebook. Give it a search. Give us a like while you're there, and you'll be able to join us while we draft our fantasy football teams. And it's usually, like it is every year, it's just a crap show. It is a mess. And Reggie, I don't know what you were doing last year. Did you you must have had some wine before you showed up or something, because the way you were drafting last year, it was nauseating to watch. I couldn't.
No, but listen though, if I would have kept my team the way it was without trading, I would have been in the playoffs and probably won the whole thing.
Well, yeah, you gave Le'Veon Bell to JJ for some reason. I don't know what was going on there.
No, I gave Le'Veon Bell to someone who gave him to JJ, and JJ gave him to JJ.
I read paperclipped that last year.
You really did. You basically went from. You drafted. It wasn't super bad, but the team that you started with and the team that you finished with were drastically different, and you were on the right path. And I think going into a fresh draft after one season under your belt of how the league operates, I think you're going to be good this year.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to our entertainment. We don't have much, so if anybody has anything.
Hey, I got an entertainment. I want to go back to this. I want to hear from each person, like 15 seconds, who they think the best Batman is. Who is the best Batman?
Oh boy, man. To me, Christian Bale. That whole series. I mean, especially The Dark Knight. That was the best to me. I don't think anybody's going to say Ben Affleck at this point, but Christian Bale, I think, is probably the best that I've seen. So I would. I mean, granted, I don't think he is as big as I would like my Batman to be, but Christian Bale, I would have to say.
Well, as far as Christian Bale, I could not stand his fighting, if anything. It was terrible. It was trash. Anybody could have done better. He does not look like a master of all martial arts. So as far as that, I couldn't stand it. As far as, like, the series being grounded, I loved that aspect. It made me feel like there could be a Batman somewhere in this world. That's the only thing I liked about it. But if we're talking about, like, fighting and Batman-esque anything, like, straight out of the comics, Ben Affleck easily had it in that warehouse scene. When he completely ruined his entire legacy in Justice League, but outside of that, I think best Batman as far as fights, I'd give that to Ben Affleck easily.
Ooh.
As far as making me feel like Batman could actually exist, I'd give that to Christian Bale.
Okay, all right.
Strong take.
That's kind of up the same avenue I was thinking with what Nick said. Yeah, I'm Christian Bale, not so much Ben Affleck. To be honest, I couldn't take him seriously.
Gentlemen, there's only one right answer to this question, and that is Adam West.
Oh my goodness.
1960.
And I'm signing off.
Rest in peace, Adam West.
I haven't been exposed to enough Adam West to put him in my.
My God,
he's the original. I know. Yeah.
Just go back and watch the movie. It is incredibly funny. It is so campy, but it's so good. And he may not embody the Dark Knight aspect of Batman, but he definitely the Adam West Batman TV show and movies definitely captured the goofy comic-esque aspect of the Batman comics.
Okay, the only way I know how to transition out of this and into gaming is with this. Everybody brace yourself. It's happening again. We have to play it more than once in this podcast.
Hey, this is Phil Lamar.
And this is Jon Stewart, and you're listening to the Chunk Podcast.
Okay, so it's not Batman, but it'll do. Green Lantern, good enough. It's same universe, at least. Moving on to the gaming portion of the show, Red Dead Redemption 2 literally just released the gameplay trailer, the first gameplay trailer, and I've been super excited about this game. I watched this gameplay trailer, and I've seen enough to say that this game may be the best game of 2018. I don't know. It just looks amazing.
I'll say it's the best game of all time.
That's a super bold claim. Holy smokes.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it, but there's so many other games that came out this year.
It doesn't matter. Well, give me one that will even scratch it. There it is. That's my point.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of good games. I mean, Smash Ultimate's coming out this year. That's going to be incredible.
Do not ever put those in the same sentence.
Okay, I get it.
And you're talking about video games. Smash Ultimate's going to be incredibly popular. And here's my bold claim.
Uh-oh.
Will outsell Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, that's not a bold claim. It's a dumb claim.
Is it? I don't know. People the Nintendo people are literally salivating, waiting for the Super Smash game. Me included. I'm so ready for it. And I if they came out on the same day, I would pick Smash Brothers over Red Dead Redemption if I was picking it up.
I pre-ordered Red Dead last year.
You already pre-ordered it? You were year in advance?
Yes. Yes, I didn't need any because the first one is already easily probably like top 5 greatest games ever made.
Okay.
Spider-Man's game is coming out this year too.
Oh boy!
And you know I'm one of the biggest Spider-Man fans on earth. This game will be better than it.
I just want to know. Whenever we came back, you stepped away and you watched the gameplay trailer, and then you came back. I would like to just recreate that scene one more time.
I don't think you want to. It's not G-rated.
Here we go. Let me do this, Nikki. You just saw the gameplay trailer. What did you think?
Nope. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm salivating everywhere.
It's something that involved a towel. He couldn't towel himself off or something. Anyway, it was obviously a good experience for you, and you obviously are very excited for this game. What are you? I mean, it's hard. There's so many different things. Looks like you'll be able to do in this game. What are you looking forward to most from Red Dead Redemption 2?
You can't put it down on just one thing. They've thought of things I never even thought of to put in a game. It's gonna be phenomenal. Just like as far as just NPCs in itself, that's gonna be the greatest achievement in video games I've ever seen. They're each gonna have their own lives, whether you interact with them or not. Like wildlife, like they actually like have like objectives. There'll be like little birds flying around feeding their nests or whatever. There's no reason for them to put that kind of detail in the game, but they're doing it. There's like just so much incredible just with NPCs you might never even look at. They're all doing their own thing. They all have their own lives, and there's that level of detail. It's not necessary, but they got it, and I'm sold.
I don't disagree with you. I think this is going to be, like I said, I think it'll be probably the best game, like overall from gameplay, story of the year. I think it'll be. Granted, I am excited for Super Smash.
Better than God of War.
To be fair, I have yet to play God of War. I know it's disgusting. I haven't played it yet, but I think I will probably have more fun with Red Dead Redemption 2 than I would with a God of War.
Well, yeah, because God of War is an extremely linear game. Granted, they've opened it up a little bit this time around, but this is like the epitome of open world games.
Which I'm a sucker for. You could do, I don't even know, open world, like just, it could be anything. Open world, a balloon, and I'd just be a balloon floating around an open planet, and I would be so excited just to be free roaming as a balloon. I'm stupid like that, but open world games just make me so happy.
I admit a lot of people throw around the term open world. They're not really that open world. They just have like an open sandbox or whatever and just minimal things you can do. But this is literally a whole life you can do. It's crazy amount of detail. And plus, GTA came out, last generation? And they got like, their little remaster or whatever. Oh. And it's still doing very well even to this day.
They are
this game is actually made for this generation. It's going to be insanity.
They are milking that GTA horse. No, you can't milk a horse. They're milking that cow.
Have you seen the latest update? Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God. I'm thinking about getting the game again. And this is like a 6-year-old game.
Well, I still have it. I couldn't get rid of it because just GTA in general, I always have to have the most current GTA ready to go because I do get urges like that where like, I want to punch somebody in the face and steal their car. I just want to do it. I need to do it, and I put in the game and I do it. Like
now, like instead of like just like the heist, or whatever, like you can like own your own little club, whatever. You can like have like racketeering going on and like using your club as like a front. Clearly, is GTA. But you can do that stuff. You can have like bunkers, or whatever, for like I guess I forgot what the mission types are, but like there's like secret bunkers you can have in the world. It's just so much stuff you can do. And this game was made 6 years ago, and they're still having extreme updates like this.
Yeah,
I can't fathom they're gonna do with Red Dead.
I'm pretty sure that they won't be coming out with the GTA anytime soon, especially with Red Dead coming out and the way that they're still milking it. So I'll be getting Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm excited for it. The gameplay trailer has me super hyped. We'll put that up on the website. You can check it out on thechunkpod.com. Check out the first gameplay trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2. Speaking of Super Smash, though, I do think it will outsell it, like JJ said. And there's a lot of new updates coming out for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate coming up here a little bit later this year. JJ, what the heck is coming on? What's going on with that game right now?
Well, I don't even know if we've discussed it on the pod really, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that's going to be geared towards professional gaming. Nintendo's tweaked the gameplay so that it's faster, requires more skill to control the characters, and they are really going kind of ham with the amount of content that they're going to have for this game. They're bringing back every character they've ever had, and seemingly every character you've ever wanted.
Except for Waluigi, though.
They just had, except for Waluigi.
That's making me sick.
At this point, with all the memes out there, you figure that they would just reskin Luigi, make a reskin Luigi and throw him in there. But
I absolutely think that they're holding it back. They're going to put him in the game. They absolutely have to, I think, at this point. They don't have a choice. He's coming, whether it be DLC at some point, which I don't think they're really trying to do. They're just going to throw it all at you at once. But it would be an awesome little tidbit if they just never announced it, and then in the game, you're playing it, and he gets unlocked somehow. I think it'd be awesome.
What game is this?
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's coming out for the Nintendo Switch. We had obviously been playing. I have the Wii U here. We play on the Wii U, but it's coming for the Nintendo Switch here. I think December 7th is the official release date.
How many characters are going to be on there? Like a million?
A buttload.
My God, so many.
I don't even know. It has to be at least 50 plus at the very minimum, right? I mean, they're pretty close to 50 right now as it is.
Yeah, and not only that, but they actually just released yesterday a Super Smash Bros. Direct where they showed off new characters, Simon Belmont from the Castlevania series and Richter Belmont from the Castlevania series. They showed off Captain K. Rool from the Donkey Kong country games. They also showed that they're going to be, they have what they're calling echo characters. Like Daisy is going to be a playable character that's kind of a clone of Peach, but with different physics. Maybe hits harder, moves a little slower.
Yeah.
They had a few Fire Emblem characters that they're throwing in there, Dark Samus. And I really think that there's still more to come. I really do. Like Justin mentioned, we don't have a Waluigi yet. There's been a lot of Super Mario RPG fans that want Malo or Geno in this game, especially with Nintendo's recent, re-embracing of Square Enix. So they reintroduced the tournament mode for Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh.
So that was in Melee, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're introducing some other really crazy game modes, squad battles, and
Nikki, just so you know, I know you're usually who do you wind up playing with? And whenever we play that game, I forget.
Usually I play with Mario.
Nikki, I think Nikki, who's the dude with the boxing gloves?
Lil
Mac. Okay, they do have DLC. I don't have it for my Wii U, but they have Solid Snake as a DLC. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yep, he's coming back.
I'll be there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. So he'll be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. So Nikki can be very excited about that. However, he says Red Dead Redemption 2 will be the greatest game of all time.
It will be.
I mean, I'm never gonna be disappointed by a dope cowboy game. So
no, for sure, absolutely. Okay, so just to clear up the release dates on that, Red Dead Redemption 2 will be releasing October 26th. And then Super Smash is coming out December 7th here at the end of the year, so we're excited for both of those, obviously.
I'm here for it.
Obviously, I think that should about wrap the show up, right? Unless anybody else has any little tidbits they'd like to sprinkle in at the end of the podcast. Anybody have anything?
All I'm trying to do is sprinkle some more RD2, just so much more information I could give. But, I mean, watch the trailer. You'll see just the first fraction of it. That's my little plug. I just watch Red Dead Redemption 2. Make sure it's the best-selling game of all time.
Okay.
Make sure I'm not a fool.
That's fair. I have a tidbit I'd like to drop in here. Ready for it?
Oh, my God.
This is Phil Lamar. And this is Static. And thanks for following The Chunk. You can check out their podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify.
I had to do it. Come on, guys. I can't play it.
I fully respect that. What do you mean?
I can't play it enough.
It's a great reminder for our fans that, they should go on if they listen to us on iTunes or Google Play or Podbean to rate and review the podcast so that other people can become chunkers as well.
Yeah, we'd love obviously follow us, subscribe to us on Spotify. If you could give a review, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for listening. to the Chunk Podcast. We'll be back next week with our NFL fantasy football preview podcast. I'm sure things are going to get pretty heated in there. We'll have most of us who will actually be in the fantasy football league on that podcast, and the actual draft will be coming just next weekend, August 18th, on Saturday. Be sure to be make sure you like us on our Facebook page. It's the Chunk Pod. That's where we will be going live. We may try to get it elsewhere if we can stream it to Twitch. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But for sure, it will be on Facebook Live. It'll probably be the easiest way to get a hold of us. But make sure you're following us there. We'll be going live there, and we look forward to being back with you next week for our fantasy football preview podcast. Thank you guys for listening so much. Follow us on social media. I know we just mentioned Facebook, but on Twitter, Instagram, it's the Chunk Pod, at the Chunk Pod. Give us a follow while you're there. And don't miss out on any other future Chunk giveaways that we will be doing. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this podcast, and thank you, people, for listening. Jason, Nikki, Reggie, JJ, we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya. I appreciate it.
Hey, this is Phil Lamar. And this is Jon Stewart. And you're listening to the Chunk Podcast.